Can we start a meeting by presenting any apologies or absence, please?
Hi, Chair. All members are present, so there are no apologies.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Any declarations of interest? No declarations of interest. Okay, fine. So can we move on to item 3, which is the procedure of licensing subcommittee, which is page 7 and 8. I'd like to call it on the officers first to present the application and the report.
We need to, all parties need to introduce ourselves first.
Sorry.
And then we need to adjourn probably just to decide whether we're going to accept Mr. Pugh's representation. So let's introduce ourselves, and then Mr. Pugh can confirm why he wants to submit the further evidence, then you can make a decision.
Okay, forgive me. Yeah, so could we start with the committee members? Sally?
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Councillor Sally Littlejohn, and I'm a Labour member on this committee hearing today. Good to meet you all.
Hello, I'm Richard Sweden. I'm councillor for Wood Street.
And again, my name is Councillor Jonathan O'Dea. I'm Vice Chair of Licensing, and I'm a Labour Councillor in Cathall Ward. We move on to the officers.
Hi, my name is Chris Foxton, Democratic Services Officer and Clerk to Licensing Committee.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Susan Ferguson. I'm the Licensing Officer. Thank you, Chair.
Good afternoon. My name's Donia. I'm Solicitor, Legal Services, and I'll be advising the committee. Thank you, Chair.
Is there any other officers present who want to introduce themselves, or is that it? Okay, thank you. And the applicant, Mr. Kurt, could you introduce yourself?
Hi, it's Ali Kurt. I am owner of the British restaurant.
Thank you. Nick, do you want to introduce yourself as well?
Yes, hi. My name's Nick Allaby. I used to be a councillor. Chingford Green was my ward. I was helping. I'm here on just on a friendly basis to help a business for his application, as I was involved in it during my time as a councillor. So I just want to make that declaration. There is no interest here whatsoever. I am abroad at the moment, but again, that's not a problem. I'm working from abroad, and that's why I stood down as a councillor. Yeah, that was my declaration on that. Thank you very much indeed, Chair.
Thank you, Nick. Is there any other responsible authorities and other parties to introduce themselves?
I think just Mr. Pugh.
I'm sorry, I thought I'd already done that. My name is Donald Pugh. I'm a resident in Beresford Road, which, if you're familiar with the geography, the location of it, you'll know is one road removed from Station Road. It's behind the station, and so is able to, it's audible or receive audible noise from the likes of Essex House, a touch of Greek, what used to be Station House, and subject to this planning application, possibly Breeze.
Okay, thank you.
Chair, it might be worth pointing out we have a map on page 58, 68.
Yes,
58, which shows exactly where Beresford Road is.
Brilliant. Thank you, Richard, for that. Okay, I'd like to hand over to the licensing officers to present the report. Thank you.
Chair, I think we've...
Sorry. Committee lawyer outlines procedures. Sorry. Give me ahead.
I think first we're going to start off with Mr. Pugh's application for additional. So if Mr. Pugh could just outline what he wants to show the committee, and what is it in respect of this in this site, and why he wants to put forward this evidence and why it's pivotal to his case, and then we can adjourn and the committee can make a decision as to whether they're willing to accept this additional evidence because it's very late.
Okay, that's fine.
Firstly, apologies for the lateness of submission. I did try to submit it yesterday, but unfortunately, Waltham Forest isn't able to access Dropbox. And it was then suggested that I could provide it via shared screen. It's a video clip. It's only 2 minutes long, but it was taken at 02:13 on the 17th of April this year, which possibly you won't know unless you consult your diaries. That was the Easter Sunday. And it just shows the area beyond my property. It's dark, obviously, because it's 2 o'clock in the morning. But what can be heard on there is the noise from the establishments in Station Road. Now, I didn't go down at 2 o'clock in the morning and walk around there and see exactly what establishment it was, but I suspect it was Essex House. And there is an awful lot of shouting, young persons screaming, having fun, but no doubt also having been drinking all night. And also music can be heard in the background, I suspect. And this was not live music, it was pre-recorded music. And again, I can only suggest that it's coming from Essex House because it often is. And this was at 02:13. Now, what it means is that they're going beyond their licence in any event, but people coming out from there are not vacating the licensed property probably until 2:30 in the morning. So there is the noise up until that time. And then Beresford Road, if you're familiar with the area, is used as a cut through. So if there are no parking spaces in Station Road, people park in Beresford Road. That means that the patrons who have been using Essex House or whatever other establishment down there to that time in the morning, and then come round here to get into their cars and drive. Now, whether there's a designated driver or not, it doesn't matter, but that's what they do, and they're often very rowdy and very loud, and with doors and boots to cars being slammed at 2:30 and 3 o'clock in the morning. Now, this situation is exacerbated, obviously, in the summer when residents want to have windows open because of hot summer nights. And my feeling is that what's being requested for breeze will only add to this problem.
Okay.
If I might also say, you're probably very well aware that there was a serious incident in Station Road, I believe last week or the week before, which made the national press and local press, and also caused Station Road to be cordoned off by the police for probably 24 hours. Now, also, as I understand the situation with breeze, is that there is a garden area at the back of the property, and it's been suggested in the application that it's a smoking area. My feeling is, and no doubt Mr. Kirk will add his comments onto this, is that if it's a smoking area, it's likely to be used as an overflow drinking area with doors open, with music playing, and people shouting to get their voices raised above the music at 2 o'clock in the morning. I just feel personally, and a lot of the residents in this locality, and I know they've not complained, but I have.
Mr. Pugh, sorry to interrupt. Sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt, Mr. Pugh. You're going to have an opportunity to present your case completely and also ask questions. So now you've made your representation in respect of your video. Is there anything else you want to say in respect of the video? Because you're going to have an opportunity to present your case in its entirety and also ask questions. So is that, are you happy for the committee to make a decision?
I've explained the circumstances of the video, so.
Thank you, Mr. Pugh. So the committee will adjourn to make a decision.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. So, Donald, in relation to your video evidence, unfortunately, we can't take this into account because it's actually about another completely different premises. It's about Essex House. So, unfortunately, it cannot be submitted as evidence. But we're more than happy to hear from you again in terms of any other impact that premises might be making to your local community. So you'll be allowed to give further representation later in the meeting if you so wish.
Thank
Is
you.
that clear?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much. So just to go back to where we are in terms of where we're at, do we still have to cover the committee lawyer outline procedures? Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
Chair.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Move on to that item now.
Thank you, Chair.
you.
The license will proceed by way of the agenda item on page 7 of the agenda pack. The Chair will call for, the licensing officer will present their report. The Chair will then call for all parties to present their case. We will begin with the applicant and this will be followed by questions. There are no responsible authorities present, but there are other parties present. So Mr. Pugh will also have the opportunity to present his case, and this will also be followed by questions. Then the Chair will call for all parties to sum up the case. There are no responsible authorities present, so the other parties will start this. So Mr. Pugh will have an opportunity to also sum up his case, and then this will be followed by the applicant. Who has the opportunity to sum up the case. The subcommittee will then retire to make its decision. The decision will usually be given in writing within 5 working days of this hearing. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So I call upon the applicant to present their application.
Sorry, Chair. It's the licensing officer to.
Sorry, licensing officer. Sorry, forgive me. Can we have the licensing officer presentation, please?
Thank you, Chair. This is Susan Ferguson.
Sorry.
Good afternoon, everyone. An application for the grant of a premises licence has been received from Mr. Ali Kurt for the combined premises 139 of 141 Station Road, E4 6AG, who seeks permission as follows. Recorded music indoors, Sunday to Thursday, 10 a.m. to midnight, Friday and Saturday, 10 a.m. until 0200. Live music indoors, Friday to Saturday, 2000 hours to 0200 hours. Late night refreshment indoors, Sunday to Thursday, 2300 to midnight, Friday and Saturday, 2300 to 0200. Sale of alcohol for consumption on and off the premises, Sunday to Wednesday, 10 a.m. to midnight, Thursday to Saturday, 10 a.m. to 0200. Hours the premises are open to the public, Sunday to Wednesday, 10 a.m. to midnight, Thursday to Saturday, 10 a.m. to 0200. There is currently a premises licence at both 139 and 141 Station Road. If this proposal is granted, both should be surrendered. A full copy of the application can be found at Appendix A to the report. The licensing section received 4 representations from responsible authority premises licensing at Appendix D and other persons at Appendix E on the grounds of prevention of public nuisance, prevention of crime and disorder, and protection of children from harm. There was also a no objection from one of the ward councillors, local ward councillors. During the consultation period, the applicant agreed to the proposed conditional representation of the responsible authority premises licensing, of which was subsequently withdrawn. The representation also included the reduction in hours regarding live music. There were no other representations from the responsible authorities. After giving due consideration to the representations made and taking into account the views of the applicant, and after giving due regard to the amended guidance issued under Section 182 of the Licensing Act and the Council's own statement of licensing policy, the committee is respectfully asked to determine whether the application from a premises licence should be granted in full, granted in part, or refused. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. So now I call on all parties to present their case, and we start with the. Mr. Ali.
Hi.
And would you like to present your application? Is there any few words you would like to say about it in support of your application?
Yeah, the first of the Breeze's fine dining restaurant is not for we can compare the Essex House. The second thing is a Breeze restaurant is a garden, is not only smoking area, also is a dining area. Our the customer profile can compare the Essex House the others one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I, Chair, just interject if I may? If
you may, yeah.
I know the establishment very well, and the whole reason of supporting it is a very good establishment. It's run very well, and the garden area does have an enclosure as well. So obviously that would limit the amount of noise. But more importantly, it's an establishment which provides the area with a decent daytime venue for eating, and also a nighttime venue, sort of helping the evening economy. But the patrons that go to the restaurant tend to be local people. Vast majority of them are local people, as well as people coming in from around the area. But they tend to be of a more mature type of people, as well as younger people. But there is no noise attributed in any way or shape or form, as, say, for example, the Essex House, which is a different type of establishment. It's more of a club. This is a restaurant, dining, etc., and that's what happens here. The live music, the only reason why the live music would help the establishment only 2 evenings a week, which is the weekend, is that there is live music that happens 55, 60 meters away from other restaurants. I think it would be called the Touch of Greek, bazooka music, etc., which all seems to be all well, and these establishments never cause any problems within the locality. The establishments that have caused problems in the past has always been the club type of establishment, not the restaurant type of establishment. As far as their noise goes and the type of music, the type of music that's there is not to make discomfort for the customers. Although it's live, it's there as live entertainment, but it's not overly loud like it would be in a club. So these sort of things one would ask the committee to take into account if they possibly can, and support the economy that is being built in Station Road. Thank you, Chair. That's my bit. Is that okay with you, Ali? I mean, was that okay that I help you on that?
Yes, certainly I agree with Mr. Nick. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, if everybody's happy with that, I'll move on to any questions from the committee. Sally, do you have any questions or anything you want clarification on?
Sorry, is this questions of the applicant only?
This is questions from the subcommittee to the applicant.
Right, okay. I'm just interested to know, to hear from the applicant whether he has accepted the amendments that that Susan Ferguson advised to his application.
Yes, we did. Yes.
Okay. You'd be happy with those changes to the hours and the conditions that she asked you for.
If I may just interject, Chair, once again, I do apologise. Yes, initially they were on the basis that there would be no licensing committee, but since the licensing committee has been formed, then obviously one is saying that is to ask. He'd accepted those on the basis that the license would be just combined together. He's got 2 licenses at the moment, and the whole idea was to put it all under one license because that's how it should be. But since the meeting's been formed, obviously it's been felt that we should be able to ask for it and let the committee decide.
Okay.
If I can just clear that up. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you.
Sally, is there any other clarifications you need or any questions?
I'm concerned about the garden. Is the garden for smoking or is it part of the restaurant? Will people be eating and drinking out there? Mr. Halabi has said it's an enclosure, but it's part of the restaurant. I'm just wondering how much noise would be generated from the garden. And until what times?
Garden is a part of the restaurant. Where we are sitting at the moment, that's the garden area.
Okay.
It have a special silent sliding roof.
Oh. Okay, so it's kind of enclosed. It's like an extra room, really. Do you open the roof in good weather? Is that the idea?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Any other points?
No, not from me.
Okay.
No.
Richard, have you got any questions or any clarifications you need?
Yeah. As Nick probably knows, I'm quite concerned about noise, and presumably the people in the garden area with the roof open, would they have access to the recorded and live music, or would that just be for the internal part of the premises? Would they hear the live music if they were in the garden, or the recorded music?
Yes, you can.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
If I can just say, obviously, depending on where they put the live music, and I think they're proposing to put the live music at the front of the establishment. Obviously, the noise will go as far as there, but I don't think there'll be an objection. And he's closing that area at 12 o'clock and not all the way till 2 o'clock. That's what's been proposed, as my understanding is. So he's proposing to close that area at 12 o'clock. So that gives that area will be closed at 12 o'clock. But in any case, the roof will be closed anyway from 10 o'clock onwards. There'll be no roof open at all. And if that's incorrect, please put that right, Ali.
Yes. Also, we can control the volume of the music on the garden area.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for that. And just I know that we're not supposed to consider this, but I'm just curious to know what the current license hours are for the existing establishments whose license will be cancelled if this one is granted.
Well, I think that's a question probably for the our representatives from the local authority to kind of clarify what the current situation is.
Susan could probably clarify this.
Okay, thank you.
Susan? Yeah.
Yes, I'm here. Does the applicant not know?
Well, yes, I did expect the applicant to know the limitations of their licence, I must admit.
Mr. Ali, can we get clarification on your operation hours in terms of your license, your current licence?
I will tell you.
Okay. Susan, that'd be good if you can.
Just one moment. Let me.
Okay, take your time.
There we go. Okay, so licensable activities, recorded music, late night refreshment and supply of alcohol, So we've got Monday to Saturday, 10 a.m. to midnight, and Sunday midday to 11:30. Okay, so that's Monday to Saturday, 10 a.m. to midnight.
Yes, it's correct.
And Sunday 12 to 23:30.
Okay.
Is it the same for
There
both
are-
premises, or does the second premises not have a license?
I believe the second premises is the same.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks for that. Thanks for that clarification.
Is there any
Chair.
other clarification you need, Richard?
It's probably in the pack, but is there any difference to the number of covers that you will have in going from the two separate premises to the one single establishment?
Sorry, I didn't get you.
Will you have more covers, or will the number of covers be the same from the two establishments you've got at the moment when you move to having one? Will it be bigger? Will there be more space for more diners, or will it be the same number?
No, you're gonna be more dining area, yeah.
And how many? What's the level of increase?
Yes.
How many more?
50, 60.
It'll be 60. And what is it now, do you think, combined?
So all together.
Yeah.
Altogether.
Yeah, it's 160, 140 all together.
You think it's under 40 now?
Yes.
The both.
Yeah, both places. Yeah, under 40. Yeah.
Chair, can I just,
140.
can I just get,
Nick, Nick, go ahead.
Ali Bey, size sorulan soru şudur. İkisi eskiydi. Onların kaç tane vardı masası? Atıyorum 80-90 neyse eskiden. Ve şimdiki ne kadardır? Onu sana soruyor. Thank you, Chair. I've just explained what he's got to explain.
Yeah.
Okay, the previous one is 141 is around 70-80 seats. Now we reduced to 60 seats. The 139 is 70 seat, now is 90-95 seat.
Okay. So it's a bit more, but not many. Is
No.
that fair enough?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Is that clear?
about 20 extra covers, I would say. I think I've understood.
Is that correct, roughly?
Have I got that right, Nick?
I don't know exactly how many covers. I can't remember the figures, but I've just asked him to clarify the difference between what it was for the two separate entities and then made into one entity. What the difference would be. Ali Bey, eskisi ne kadardı, şimdiki ne kadardır? Yani 100 tane geçen defaydı, 120 tane şimdi, onu söylemen lazım kendine. Senin dilinden duysun kendisini lütfen.
Yani eskisi sorry, the watch is
Yeah.
the watch is 100, 120, now it's 140, 150 around there. Between
Okay.
140, yeah.
20 to 30 more.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. That's what I wanted to know. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for that. I think we'll move on to questions from responsible authorities. Is there anything there? No. So, have we any questions from any other parties?
Mr. Pugh can ask a question if he wishes.
Yes, Donald, would you like to ask a question?
Well, excuse me, should I combine that with my representation?
No, if you can just ask specific questions and get if there's any clarification on any of the points which have been made, that would be good for the moment, and then you can come back with your own representation towards the end. So if there's any clarification need or any specific questions you want to ask.
Is it really expected that even with the existing covers, and with the additional covers, that patrons will be going in there to dine at 12 o'clock at night to 2 o'clock in the morning. It seems
So-
unlikely to me.
Nick, could you want to
if
come back?
I can give you clarification, I do know the establishment, and the thing is, the only time that tends to happen where you're going to get a full house is on special occasions, your Valentine's Day, your possibly your Mother's Day, and that sort of stuff is where it really does come into its own. The rest of the time, it's a business which functions. It doesn't have all the covers covered up. That's why you try to introduce something slightly different to try and attract more people in. But the type of clientele you're attracting in is the more the people that will eat and enjoy that type of establishment. So the answer to your question is that I'm not quite sure where we're going with it, but he's not getting a full house every single weekend or every single night. The other thing is he's very approachable to allow people to come in, residents, and speak to him if they've got any particular issues with his establishment. You cannot control the other establishments, but he's all very approachable for people to come and speak to him if there's any issues with his establishment, which to date he hasn't experienced any issues at all with his establishment, both in Chingford, and he has another establishment in Hymes Park. I don't know if that satisfies the question, Donald.
Well,
Any other clarification?
if I might just add on to that.
Yeah.
I am a patron of Breeze. I have been there with my family, and as has been said earlier on, it's a perfectly respectful and proper establishment existing. And if it's maintained as it is to 12 o'clock, I can see no objection. But it's the fact of extending and the suggestion that people will be dining between 12 midnight and 2 o'clock in the morning with live music. And if I might...
Don, can I ask you to just, this section is about your opportunity to ask specific questions and get clarification. Is there any specific questions you would like to ask?
No, I've asked my question. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Brilliant, thank you. So in that case, we'll move on to the next section, which is any responsible authorities. Is there any questions, or is there any responsible authorities present? No, I think there's no. So then any other parties? So Donald, is there anything you like to state now in terms of any objections you may have, any concerns you have, any general statement?
Yeah, well, the concerns, as I was just explaining, was that I'm doubtful that people will go into the restaurant to dine between 12 midnight and 2 a.m. when there's live music, because my experience of the establishments, and I know I can't draw direct comparisons because it hasn't happened yet, but certainly A Touch of Greek, the live music is considerably louder than pre-recorded music in there. I hope we're just not complaining NIMBYs here, but we have phoned and been round to A Touch of Greek and asked that they reduce the level of the live music. And on occasion, they have done. But then, of course, days go by, weeks go by, and they have another bout of live music in there. And it is very, very loud. My concern for Breeze, if it gets an extension to gone past midnight to 2 o'clock in the morning, is that live music will transmit to residents' properties in the locality. Not only that if people don't dine, and as I say, I am sceptical about that, is that people will go there to drink. It will become a drinking club, the same as Essex House. It will then attract younger people, which I accept it doesn't necessarily do now. And I say, I've been into the restaurant. So my concern then is the conduct of young people who have been drinking to 2 o'clock in the morning, maybe beyond, who then, as has been noted by Mr. Xavier, bouts of unsociable and nuisance conduct, but that not only in Station Road, but as I was explaining earlier on, when people come to reclaim their cars for getting home, that we suffer an awful lot of intrusion and noise. At 2 o'clock in the morning, 2:30 in the morning, I don't know where you live, but believe me, it's no joke.
Okay. Is there any other comments you want to make, Donald, before we move on? With that, is there any questions from the subcommittee? Sally?
Yeah, I'm slightly baffled. Are we going to have a case from the responsible authority? From
I did
Susan?
call for. I did call for that, and there was no response.
Okay.
The conditions have been agreed. If you look to page 50 and 51, the licensing enforcement officer, he proposed some conditions: reduction in hours for the live music until 12, and the applicant has agreed these. That's why responsible authorities have sort of withdrawn their representation. Susan can confirm this.
Okay. It's just that I'm trying to, because I think Mr. Pugh is thinking the establishment is intending to be open until 2 a.m. And my understanding is that under the revised hours, which the applicant has accepted, the establishment would be closing at 12 midnight.
No, that was just for live music.
And that was just for live music.
Yeah,
Okay.
if you look to page, if you look to page 49, the amended times were for live music. So Friday to Saturday, 8 to 12. Also, recorded music is no longer going to be past 11 p.m. So that's been removed as well. But potentially it can still be open to 2 a.m. That's a decision for the committee. But live music will finish at 12.
Okay, so that's something that we may want to discuss. Yeah, thank you, Donia, for that clarification. That's on page 49. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Sally, for that and for picking up on that. Appreciate it. Donia, is there anything else we need clarification on? Because I did ask for the responsible authorities to make a statement. So if there's anything else we need.
Because Sherman, the responsible authority, he made a representation, but he put forward conditions. But because the applicants agreed them, in effect, he's withdrawn his representation because his conditions have been agreed. So in his view, his representation doesn't stand because the conditions have been agreed. But Susan, is there anything you want to add to that? Or, because I mean, obviously you're not a responsible authority, but you work for licensing. But that's why Sherman isn't here today, because it's not necessary.
Okay.
Chair, as Donia stated, there's no responsible authority and there's no other responsible authority that made representation at the time as well within the consultation period. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Thanks for that clarification. Richard, did you want ask any more questions or clarifications to the other parties? You're on mute, Richard.
Just to say that as Sally and Nick know, I am concerned about noise and the environment. I'd just like to ask Donald, if I may, bearing in mind that there won't be any live music beyond midnight, are you still fearful that people would come in between midnight and 2 just to drink?
Yes, I am.
Okay. That's all my those are all my questions I have. I think your presentation was quite clear, and I don't feel I have any need to interrogate it further.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to questions from the applicant. Is there any questions from the applicant to the other parties, or any clarifications you want to raise?
No.
So are you happy to move on? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you. So I would like to call on all parties to sum up. So Ali, would you like to sum up and make some closing remarks in support of your application?
Sorry, Chair, just to jump
Sorry.
in. Usually
Sorry,
other persons first, because the applicant has the right of the final summary.
the applicant has right to, okay. So can you clarify that again? I'm looking at my notes here. So,
Yes,
so what do you mean by that?
Mr. Pugh would summarise first, and then the applicant.
Okay, sorry. Okay, it's about order. Okay, so Mr. Pugh, would you like to summarise first?
In summary, it just comes down to the fact that I'm doubtful that patrons will use the restaurant between 12 midnight and 2 o'clock to dine, and that in that period it will then become what's known as a drinking club and start to mirror Essex House. And whilst it may, during the daytime, such as with the front room and bar 24, serve food and be a normal restaurant, that later at night, food is not the priority, drink is the priority. I have no objection to people having a drink, but I just feel that 12 o'clock to 2 o'clock is excessive hours in what is a residential locality. It's often bad enough here. How people in Station Road who have flats above the shops tolerate it, I've no idea. But that's my summation of the position.
Thank you, Mr. Pugh. Mr. Kurt, would you like to make any final comments? Are you on mute, Mr. Kurt?
I never had any problem with anyone else since we moved the premises. The Breeze is fine dining restaurant with our type of the customers. It's not the too young customers. Yeah, I'm happy to what you make a decision. I agree with them. But I will be grateful what the extended hours, what I want to extend it till 2 a.m. for only the weekend.
Okay.
Could I just interject?
Yes, go ahead, Nick. Yes, of course.
Just a couple of things here.
Yeah.
The whole idea here is it's not about trying to attract people in from 12 o'clock to 2 o'clock in the morning. No, that's not the idea. You're in a restaurant, you arrive 7, 8, 9 o'clock in the evening, you're eating, everything's moving along fine. You get to past 12 o'clock, everything's got to be removed because that's when his license would run out. The whole idea is to actually, for people that are already there, to continue to enjoy their atmosphere that they've created. I've been in the restaurant many a times, and I'd like to stay longer, but I can't because I can't carry on enjoying the atmosphere, because it's got to close up, it's got to take away the alcohol, you can't, final drinks have done, and that's the sort of socializing that one expects to do. That's how it's been, and that's what one would have expected to do. Also, it's also to create and give an opportunity for Breeze to compete economically with what else is going around it. It's unfair to sort of limit it to a particular time when the noise isn't being generated by them and wouldn't be generated by them, and they would be more than happy to converse and bring in the residents to talk to at any time. There'd be no objection to it. So I think, in all fairness, once you really consider how much of an impact it would have on his particular business, that is just expanded into the 2 shops. It was 1 shop, and then the second shop come up and is sort of expanded into it. And if your memory serves right, Donald, you'd also remember that the other 2 entities were completely different type of entities, and the one that I think it's 141 now that was taken in was a completely different entity. It was more young and it was more drinking, but this is a restaurant, and it is a fine dining type of restaurant. It's not there for clubbers to come in and drink after hours. That's not what it's intended to do, and neither would it be, I wouldn't have thought. And you can put better clarification on that, Ali, if that's incorrect.
Okay, thank you, Nick.
Thank you, Jim.
Okay, I think we've got enough information here. We've looked at all the relevant parties in this application and all the objections. So I suggest now that we actually close the meeting, and the committee now adjourns to make a decision. So I just want to thank all the